Yeah, I was doing a thing out at Pinewood Film Studios with Martin Landau, and I remember we were all dressed in a sort of what was supposed to be and was very advanced at that time, the year 2000 costumes. So they were very sort of avant-garde, and I came down this great gantry into the main, and there were all these television screens, and one of them said, "Roy Dotrice, this is your life." As I'm as blind as a bat without my glasses, I didn't see what the hell that was, and I couldn't read it. And then Eamonn Andrews came round the corner with his big red book and said, "You know, this is your life." It was an embarrassing moment, I think, rather than an exciting one. Eamonn Andrews left us and had to go to the studio. But he sent someone to take me to the studio in a car. And this idiot that was with me didn't stop making jokes the whole time. I suppose it was there to relax me. But it did the opposite effect, you know, because I wanted to think about the show I was going to, what I might be saying. But all this comedian wanted was to get a few laughs from me, and I was the last person in the world that was going to laugh that day. So anyway, we got to the studio, and I was met by Eamonn Andrews. And then he introduced me to a lot of people who were old friends of mine that I'd never ever seen before. Particularly, there was one I remember who apparently was a choir boy with me at St. Stephen's Church. This was like 50 years earlier, and he get this voice coming over before the person actually appeared. "Oh, Roy, do you remember me? 'Cause we used to go to the fish and chip shop together every Friday night after choir practice." No bloody idea who it was. So on would come this idiot, and I pretended I knew him, and that went on for about 5 or 6 of these people that I didn't know at all, who were, this is my life, you know. And it was pretty arduous. And Roy, do you remember this fella here? And of course you didn't, you had no idea who was coming on. And you pretended you did, and did a sort of vaguely decent acting job. "Oh, so nice to see you again. Who the hell are you?" No, but Eamonn, he did a very good job on this show, and it kept it going for years. You know. Occasionally, someone came home that I did know, like my wife. I did recognise her when she came home. But the others, no, not easy. I'm sure Kay had nothing to do with the choosing of the people that were going to be in the show, because apart from my brother and my sister-in-law, there was nobody there, because my mother was alive then, and my 3 daughters, but all the rest were I hardly knew them. Richard Johnson I knew. He had stayed with us when I was at Stratford-on-Avon, and yes, I knew him quite well. Who else was there that I knew? Keynes Griffin, yes, I did a series with him in the south of France called Clochemel, and so I did know him quite well. And he was always an amusing man, Kenneth, delightful man. Oh yeah, I think Warren Mitchell at that time was in Australia. His wont those days to tour Australia a lot with his, his character of Alf, and he used to get up on the set and with a pint of beer and his West Ham scarf, and just basically insult people when they came into the theatre. But he was awfully good in it, and I got to know Ralph Warren. I met him several times when I was in Sydney, Australia, and I remember our boats passed on Sydney Harbour, and I didn't recognise him at first because he was mooning me. I suppose it's because at that time I was fairly popular, and I'd done a lot of West End plays, I'd done a lot of television, and I was considered to be well known, and that's all they were looking for, personalities and well-known people to appear on that show. That's the only reason I could think of that I was picked to do it. Yes, embarrassing, frightening, and thank Christ I only had to do it once.